Hi there and welcome to this tutorial for VBL Glamour. In this tutorial we're going to learn about attaching and detaching glamours, or it may be easier to understand as adding clothing layers on top or armor or gear. So if you can see, we have our character here just with the base body, no clothing, and if I run into these pieces they all get added on top and stitched together. You'll note that when I put the legs on, the feet don't show through, they are actually hidden, etc, etc. So how do we actually do this with VBL Glamour? So before we actually get into the details, let's have a look at what's actually happening on our character here. So if I find our character here, VBL Glamour character, and we look at the details panel, let's click on the VBL Glamour component, and we can see that there is a glamour profile here called GL Human Base. Now as I pick up these pieces, you can see this attached profiles array got added another profile on top that was attached, and that keeps happening every time I add another piece until I've got all of these profiles stacked on top of each other, layering on top of the human base. So this is attaching and detaching glamours at runtime. If I run into this blue ball, all of those profiles get detached and we're back to our body base. So that's generally what we're going to learn how to do. Now, the first things first, you're going to have to make those additional profiles. So I'll show you that just now. We're not going to make them in the tutorial because I think that would waste time, but I will show you them in the Glamour editor. So here we have the Glamour editor, and obviously compared to the example project, I've got a lot more items here. All of these items are from Enhanced Studio. They're on the Fab Marketplace, so check them out if you like these assets. They're pretty useful for this kind of system. So if you have a look at profiles, I've got a few different ones here. We've got the human body base, and this base actually has randomization added, but we're not going to talk too much about that in this video. And then we have templates for gear. So you can see each gear piece I've set up separately as a profile. Some of them contain multiple glamour slots. So for example, this has the chest and the shoulders in one, and I've decided that that's going to be the chest piece. For example, the legs has a whole bunch. It has a belt, it has the pants, it has the legs add, which is these side things, and it has the tabard. Now the thing is, the reason why we do this is because you might get a modular character asset that you buy off the asset store that has all these tiny little pieces, but your gear system might not, you might not want to have a piece, like a gear piece with stats on it for every single one of those. So you can combine these glamour items into these sort of template profiles to make armor pieces or clothing pieces. And that's what I've done here. We've got the boots, we've got the gauntlets, the chest, the legs, and the helmet, and that's as far as I kind of want to go for this thing. So we can take these templates and plonk them on top of our character. And we can even preview this in the Glamour editor, and I'll show you a little trick. So if we go to our human base, and then if we click on this tab here, Glamour Overrides, we can actually attach a whole bunch of these glamours here. So if I search up, for example, plate boots, and if I hit refresh glamour, that's going to add it. Now you'll notice the character keeps changing. Don't worry about that. That's just because it's got randomizers on it. But if I add chest, etc., plate chest, glamour, there we go. And we can sort of preview how it goes. Now none of this is actually saved. This is just so that you can get an idea of what it's going to do on the glamour component when you do that. So we can just reset those overrides for now. The point is that we have made these. I will also go into one more bit of information, and that is that I have added another layer here on top. As in the quick start guide, we only had a base layer and a hair layer. Now I've got an armor layer, which is a layer on top of both of those as well. Okay. So now that we have our profiles and we have our base profile, it's really, really easy to attach and detach profiles. So we're going to make our own sort of little thing that we can pick up that is going to attach and detach our profiles. Okay, so I've pre-made these blueprints. There's no functionality to them, but let's do a blueprint that when you run over it, it attaches a profile. So let's double click on this one that I've already made. All it is right now is a sphere being rendered, and there is a on component begin overlap to detect if someone's hit it. So how do we now attach a profile based on collision, for example, at runtime. Okay, so let's get our actor, and we are going to get a component by class. Not components, get component by class. And we are going to choose VBL Glamour component, and we can, is valid, check if that is valid. And if that is valid, then we are going to do a few things. We are going to call attach glamour profile, and we can select the profile we want to attach. So let's just say this is going to be the plate chest. We'll attach that. You could set it as a variable in this blueprint if you want. And now we need to decide whether the system is going to reload straight away. We can say none, in which case it's not going to reload the glamour straight away. And this is the case if you want to like attach multiple profiles one after the other. You would go none, 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 and then on the last one you would queue it. You don't want to load it after every single one. That's just an example. But in this case, we're only going to do the one, and we're going to queue that. Now, one thing to note, if this particular glamour profile is already attached, it will not attach it a second time. So you don't have to really worry about double attaching GP plate chest. It simply won't allow it. Okay, so that is about it for that. So let's drag our new tutorial attach profile into the scene and test it out. These are my ones from the standalone demo. I don't want that. Okay, here it is. I'll drag it into the middle here so it's really obvious where it is. Let's hit play and see how we go. Okay, here we are. I'm just going to take the clothing off, and there we go. And as we touch that, the chest gets added. So that has worked perfectly fine. We can easily add gear. So whenever you're in your system, in your inventory system, you like drag that character chest piece from your inventory onto your character sheet to equip it, you would then attach a profile that is connected to that gear piece. So that's kind of how that works. So let's just do the other one, which is going to be very similar, and it's just to detach. So let's go to detach, and we'll do the same thing. Okay, so we've got that, and we've got a few options to detach. We can detach all glamour profiles, or we can detach a specific glamour profile. Now in this case, let's just detach all profiles because we don't know, but this is basically the blueprint function that you can use to detach a profile. Again, if you were going to unequip a piece of gear from your character sheet, as you unequip, you would check the profile that is connected to that gear and call detach glamour profile, and that would automatically set up your character. In this case, let's just call detach all glamour profiles, and we can queue the load straight away, and that will work just fine. So let's test this one out now. I'll put it over here, and we can hit play and give that a go. All right, here we are. Let's put on our chest piece. There's our chest piece, and then when we run into this one, it should get removed, and it is removed successfully. And that will work with all of these. There we go. It is removed, attached, removed. Very, very simple. So that just about wraps it up for this tutorial. It's a very simple system that is worked with just a few blueprint calls, but also very powerful, especially with layers. And you can set up your whole gear system for your whole RPG or the MMO you're definitely going to make. All right, see you in the next one.